Andy Kishitz.
Here.
Thank you.
Hey, so I don't have the hearing notice in front of me, and I don't know if you have it on your screen, guys. So, but this is a hearing tonight in accordance with Mass General Law to hear and act upon a special permit application that is for 711 to 713 Main Street. And the application is basically to modify, extend, or reinstate a 2005 special permit to alter pre-existing non-conforming uses and structures per plans that will be submitted. So is that enough for to open it, Valerie?
Yes, we can say it is. I actually think I have. I'll share the screen so you can actually see it. I did get access.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yes. So you should be able to see it now if you want to read the parcel number.
Oh yeah. So in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, notice is hereby given that the Bolton Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Thursday, May 12th, 2022 at 6 p.m. via Zoom to hear and act upon the application of Studio In Situ Architects, Inc. The applicant seeks a modification of the existing special permit issued in 2005 to expand or alter pre-existing non-conforming uses and structures at 711 to 713 Main Street in Bolton's residential zoning district, identified on assessors map as parcel 4 containing plus or minus 0.27 acres. The applicant seeks to extend allowed uses to the barn and 711 Main Street pursuant to sections 250-3.c and section 250-11 of the Code of Bolton zoning. Okay, so with that, why don't we have the applicant jump right into what they seek to alter or to extend. And sorry for the delay.
Well, not at all, Mr. Chair. Thanks so much, and appreciate this chance to chat with you guys about where we're headed and what we're hoping. The application materials I think are relatively self-explanatory. It's our intent to renovate, pardon me, renovate and make 2 small additions to the currently blue building at number 711. And there is a tenant lined up for that space who operates an interior design office. That tenant is Stephanie King. Her father is the owner of the project, Craig Bovaird, my client. And I should say he apologizes he can't join us tonight. He had some knee surgery earlier in the week and is recovering from that. And well, I'll add. The phase 1 of the project would involve the renovation of that small blue building for Stephanie's business. The larger—
What address is that? Is that 7?
It is 711. It's the building furthest to the east, the one that's been the antique store and things. The kind of larger scheme and grander plans include the construction. I believe you've all learned that we are under order to demolish the barn that's there today, and have my client Craig has purchased an antique barn from some hours north, I believe the kind of northern tip of New Hampshire, which it's our plan to restore and bring down and erect on the footprint of the existing. And then the kind of larger scheme involves a proposal for a kind of walkway, grand scale covered porch immediately to the west of our building that would be positioned and built on town property, addressing the town common. And it would include, our scheme shows 6 parking spaces there, and a small kind of entry walkway, patio, and other aspects of the site improvement will also be proposed for some town property, including wetlands crossing that would span from our bridge back to, from our barn back toward the public parking. For context, those things we anticipate seeking permission from town meeting about 51 weeks from now. And we have had a number of very preliminary conversations with the town administrator and the board of selectmen and some other groups about the kind of grander plans. But our understanding is that the question of use for this building at 7-Eleven is a real gating issue for us, and we need to sort of resolve that before any of the rest of it makes sense. And so we're here for that tonight. From my vantage point, I'm hopeful that you all agree it's a relatively straightforward ask. My understanding is the building has I think never been used as a residence and been used only as any number of businesses, from a post office through apparently originally a tailor shop. Martha and Alice may know better as historians. But
Town physician's office.
Okay, great.
So are we only dealing with, you talked about your design. Is there a document or that you can share that show, and when you talk about modifications or renovations to that building, what does that entail?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to share the aspects of the things that I think are germane most acutely tonight have simply to do with use. Sorry, let me, Valerie, may I have permission to share my screen?
I think you should at this point. Is it not showing up?
Probably, yep.
Okay.
Looks like I can do that here, thank you. Have you got a big PDF there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay. So let me see if I can scroll over. And
were these within the application documents? I don't recall seeing this type of detail.
yeah, one moment and I'll scroll through. So what I've opened here, if you can see where my cursor is,
Yep.
This is the application. So the text documents are up top.
Right.
And as we scroll down, this is the balance of what was included.
Okay.
So the footprint, I'm sorry, there we go. Let me see if I can stop it shifting around. So the existing footprint of the building is exactly like this today.
Right.
We propose to alter that really in a single way. And it is to build a kind of small entry porch out here. It would not enclose any conditioned space at grade or on the first floor. And then we'd have, an additional, whatever, 200-300 square, not even that much, probably an additional 150 square feet added to the second floor in that spot. And then in the upper right quadrant, roughly speaking, the northeast quadrant of the building, we propose to add a second floor there as well. You probably all know that the west half is a 2-story structure. The east half is a 1-story structure. So our scheme includes, would end up with a kind of, 3/4 of the building being 2 stories tall. Our application, though, is not a site plan approval or the kind of broader permission, but only to address use, which, as I described it, is a kind of gating issue for us. if it's helpful, I'm happy to share a brief, it's about a minute and a half, little animation that shows the kind of bigger picture of what we intend for the larger development. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Let me see if I can navigate my way to that. I think I have to do
But
it.
I think just looking at that, when you talk about extending out to that front, and I don't know if that encroaches on any, well, not on that side. Is there any setbacks, Valerie? I mean, because if we're talking about use versus, extending it and changing, if it changes the setbacks to the yards or frontage, things like that, we may need a.
The increase of the footprint moves to the west into the courtyard toward our other building at 713.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think a setback would be relevant
But
there.
nothing in the front. Okay, that's fine. Yep. Mhm.
That's right. Yep.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Martha
Yes.
Remington here. I think you'll remember decades ago, there were stairs that went up to that second story.
I don't, but that's okay. I trust your.
Are you all
Pictures are
seeing
in the
this?
package, actually.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. Are you hearing my spacey music?
Sounds dreamy.
Yes.
Yeah.
My boots.
Probably would have been better to turn that off. Sorry. The little front porch we're on now will be proposed as part of a phase 2 later on.
So that, okay, so,
And that will encounter some setback issues.
right. Okay, so let's. Okay, so, well, that was helpful in that. So if we're only dealing with, Valerie, right, just that one building tonight, but to extend that use would be, we're saying it always was a commercial use in some respect, or not residential, so it's just a commercial use there, right? And that was allowed in the 2005 permit, special permit. I think it was deemed that these were all pre-existing non-conforming and allowed uses, correct?
Right. So as Tim's saying, it is what's before the board now is the use special permit. So kind of extending the uses that are allowed at 713 Main Street to be extended to 711 because it has been a period of time since there has been a use in that structure. So wanting to verify that the board would allow that extension before the applicant works on other site planning issues.
Right. I mean,
And-
so.
Mr. Chair,
Sorry, Gary.
if I may, it might be, I think, Valerie, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, if we didn't identify this in our application, but it's our understanding that the uses from that 2005 decision carried not so much with the buildings, but with the parcel, which is to say whatever buildings would occupy the parcel. And so most acutely, the permission we're seeking is for 7-Eleven, but ultimately we're hopeful that the mixed use which applied to all three of the buildings in the 05 decision can be extended as well to all three in our kind of in the current project in question. We do, though it's less urgent, our intention is to continue or reinstate a kind of mixed use into that, into the barn structure as well.
Yeah. Right. I guess at that point, I mean, to extend, because I recall from that decision process, it was very distinct that at least in the building that's currently being used with the candle company and whatnot, that was going to retail, and then an affordable unit upstairs, and then the barn was going to be retail, two split up for two separate retail, and then this other property could be retail. So when we talk about mixed use of all buildings, I guess we would just have to maybe get a current opinion on if the board has that authority to do that. But I think we probably have the authority under the previous review to opine that the use in the 7-Eleven would be allowable.
Yeah, see, thanks for that clarification. I do see that under item 7 in this 05 decision, the board did articulate kind of one building at a time and identify 7-Eleven, 713, and the barn sort of individually and distinctly.
Well, right. And that was, if I believe the fact pattern from that time, that's how the former owner, through her counsel, Lou Levine, in their vision of what they want to do with the property, had specific ideas for each individual building. So that's how it was incorporated into that decision. So if there's something different on that, I said, granting different uses and whatnot, I just wanted to be sure that we follow the right process.
Yeah, so it is possible to, if the board is agreeable, what would need to happen is a decision would have to include a finding that says that the board would view uses on the whole parcel and not on a building by building basis, essentially. So essentially saying that the special permit truly runs with the land, which is the entire parcel. So even if use is discontinued in one structure on the parcel, there's still the allowance on that land. However, it might be divided between buildings.
I guess I have a question about the parking on public land issue. How is that going to be resolved looking down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what we're hopeful for, if that's a question to me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was probably Valerie's guidance. We met with Jenny and Don, and they, to discuss the question of whether there would be what sort of mechanism might be most appropriate for seeking such a circumstance, whether it would be an easement or whether some sort of license arrangement made sense. It was Don's advice that it would be more appropriately an easement, and that that could be granted not by, of course, himself or the select board, but only by town meeting. So we met with the select board, shared our sort of vision and intent, and they, of course, in a very preliminary way, offered their, voiced individually some support. They didn't take any official action, of course. And so it's our intent to prepare over the next several months and go to town meeting in about a year and seek that permission. Now, in the meantime, if we're able to get the interior design firm up and running, they will have some cars and some parking needs. So in the immediate near term, we would continue to use the courtyard, the present courtyard for that parking, and then otherwise rely on available public parking nearby. I know there's some on-street parking. There is a lot that I believe has 23 spaces for the town common, not a long walk from our parcel, and a little bit less conveniently, some other public parking, the kinds of spots that folks use when there are larger events on the common. Some of those are public and would be available. So that's,
Yeah,
that's
the only reason I ask is I'm not sure that was a gift from the Bolton Conservation Land Trust. I'm not sure whether there's any covenants that they place on it that would interfere with what you have planned. But I just thought I'd bring up the question.
I have the same or similar concerns about parking. I know this parcel has long been an issue, as you can clearly see with one of the pictures in the package. You've got a car that's looked like having some difficulty backing up or something next to one of the buildings. Given that you're going to be, or you plan to better utilize the space that you have and also expand the square footage, what is the net overall change in parking that's necessary for this property?
Well, I suppose that would depend on a particular method for determining the need.
Well, you're losing theoretically in the long term, you're going to lose that whole courtyard area, right? And you're also going to have some additional space with the building, the second floor that you're putting on that building, or a partial second floor. So, obviously, there's some sort of design for using some parking on the common side. But I was just wondering whether when you run any numbers on how much parking you need for the office. I guess it's mostly office space that you'll have, and how that compares to what you have now.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the firm that will be the tenant here is presently a staff of 2 people, and they anticipate, growing to as many as 3 or 4 in the kind of foreseeable future. So those folks would probably be able to park pretty comfortably in the courtyard, and on occasions when for whatever reason that was not sufficient, the number of public spaces available in walking distance, I think, would suffice.
Okay.
The nature of the business, it may be helpful to hear. This is not sure what to compare it to, but it's very much a by appointment only. Most of Stephanie's clients are remote in kind of far-flung places, Miami Beach and Aspen, and it's a kind of what I call a sort of white glove interior design firm. She won't really have walk-in business. I mean, I don't know that she'd turn that stuff away, but the bulk of her clientele is folks that she's working with at some distance, and they'll meet infrequently and in a very kind of scheduled appointment kind of way. So she's not going to generate a lot of traffic volume or visitation.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, obviously, but we can't rely on that tenant being there forever. You might end up eventually getting some other tenant who needs have more people in the space. So it's just something I'm thinking of. for the future.
Yeah, because as the traffic goes, like we also have to, when we look at the special permit, we have to be sure that, desired relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. And then also that it can be granted without nullifying or derogating substantially from our bylaws. So I think, the parking, if there was a problem with parking and safety and things, then that, could go toward, it may be detrimental to the public good. But I think in the, if it's a limited use like we talked about in the 2005 permit, that sort of was, because of limited traffic and limited parking, it spoke toward at least the people that spoke about it, if I recall, was that wasn't substantial detriment, and the fact that they're going to repurpose these buildings that were in such disrepair, it was good for the public good. So we have a couple facts that sort of go toward assisting us in making that decision. But
Yeah, I'm not, I'm certainly supportive of reusing the buildings that are there. I don't mean to be negative. I guess I need more information as to what uses they'll be put to, because that's going to impact a lot of things. So that, I guess we need more details from my standpoint, of what the possible uses would be. I see in your video, we had people walking around and the courtyard was filled up with pavers and that. So it's kind of hard to to get from that what possible uses would be made.
Mr. Reed,
Also in the,
So Valley, I
So in
don't
the
want to
back-
cut. Wait a second, Andy, I just want to be sure. We have to at some point break, because I think we have to actually open up that other hearing and to continue it. So, which may beg that we may have to, if people still have questions, maybe continue this hearing for another night and be sure we get those answered, as well as take care of our other matter at hand. So, and if you have a question, why don't you ask it, and then we can look at continuing it till another night.
I was just going to quickly point out that in the package itself, there's a picture of the buildings in the past when the 7-Eleven property was painted red. You can see the extension of the property that Martha was talking about, the second floor, entrance up there.
Right.
How would that compare with what you're plan to build? Be the same bump out, or as it was before?
Yeah, thank you. We don't have any documentation that includes dimensions on that bump out. So it is our notion, or the scheme is a kind of replication of that, but we don't have any data other than these photographs by which to argue that we're doing it with any particular precision. I would just say, with the kind of sensitivity of designer's careful eye, for what that's worth, the idea is that it kind of recalls that other in a way that gives us the advantage of some additional space, but in a way that's kind of demonstrably reverential toward the kind of historic fabric and the value of this kind of collection of buildings here in town.
Okay.
I agree with that, and I agree with Brad that I'm certainly in favor of making further improvements to this property. We've made great strides so far, and I'd like to see that continue, with the caveat being my concern is parking.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Martha Remington, I have a question. Will these businesses be 7 days a week, or basically 5 days a week in the upstairs of 7-Eleven? Is that an office that would probably be closed Saturday and Sunday, or don't you know quite yet?
I haven't seen the hours, but in like the other app, in the 2005, there were specific hours of operations noted. So
Yeah, there are 5 or 6 parking spots in front of the brick store that are indented into the conservation town common. And I believe there is a parking lane over on the even side of numbers, Alice's side for 704, 702.
Further down, further east.
Excuse
It
me?
doesn't start right here. It's down a little further, as far as Mechanic Street.
Right. Like 704, 702.
Yep.
Right. Thank you.
Yep. If I may, Mr. Chair, I can characterize certainly the business at 7-Eleven would be overwhelmingly a weekday business. I can't promise that you would never work a Saturday or sneak in on a Sunday morning, but it's definitely a Monday through Friday kind of a business by its nature.
So why don't, so maybe you can encapsulate some of these comments, to a letter to the Valerie or to the board saying, based on the initial hearing, some of the questions that were raised, maybe you can address, a formal, so that we can have a little more structure around what we may have to decide as our decision, because like the other decision in a special permit, we can put in conditions and put in, parameters. And right now, I'm not sure we have enough information about parameters.
Okay.
So, and with that, because we do have another hearing, we have to open and for tonight. Valerie, do you have a calendar that we can look and see a date, and we can continue, make a motion to continue to another date where we get that information and
Sure. Yep. So the board already has a meeting. I don't know how far out you do want to go, but the board has a meeting on Tuesday, May 31st at 7 p.m. So we could opt to say 6 p.m. or 6:30.
I think, what day is that?
That's a Tuesday.
Because I think as long as it's 6:30, I think it can potentially include
Liz,
Elizabeth, because I
that's
think she,
correct.
right, and 6 is tough. So if we can continue to that date at 6:30, then we could probably move this along.
Works for me.
Works for
That's
me.
good.
Okay, so we have a motion to continue to 5:31 at 6:30.
I will motion that we continue the meeting to Tuesday, 5:31 at 6:30 p.m.
Second,
And those in favor, Brian Holmes,
Aye.
Brad Reed,
aye.
Andy Kishitz,
Yes.
and Gerard Ahern.
Aye. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So we'll reconvene in the end of the month. All right, thanks.
Thanks so much. Can I just ask, that sounds like Memorial Day. Any
It's the
chance
day-
that's Memorial Day?
The day after.
Yeah, Monday is. It's the
Monday
day
is
after.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay,
Will
Great.
that work for your schedule?
Absolutely.
Okay.
all right, perfect. All right, thanks, folks.
See you then.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so then we'll jump right into that other one. Hopefully we don't have a lot of people waiting.
What's next on this?
This is just, we'll continue the hearing till Monday for the 580 Main. So. So let's see,
And we're doing that Monday at 6.
Monday it's
Yes, Monday at 6.
Mhm.
Yep.
so
That's the 16th.
Yes.
16th, yep. Mhm. So do we expect, we don't expect Elizabeth on this one, or do we?
As long as there's no discussion tonight, yeah, she'll be able to continue to be a voting member.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you just bring up the hearing notice for,
Oh, we don't need to, we won't need to state the public hearing notice again.
okay,
Yeah.
right, so, so can I just speak to this?
Yes.
Open the hearing, okay, so I'm gonna open the hearing. We're a little late, but if anyone's been waiting, I apologize. But we have tonight's a continuation of the April 12th, 2022 hearing on the Alta Neshoba Valley housing development. So we were scheduled to have a meeting tonight, but the applicant contacted Valerie earlier this week on May 9th and requested that we continue the hearing to a date next week. We have a date certain for May 16th at 6 p.m. that we're going to continue this hearing. So we just need a motion to do that. And that'll take care of our duties for tonight.
I motion that we continue the hearing to Monday, the 16th at 6 p.m.
Perfect.
Second,
Second,
Okay.
And those in favor, Brian Holmes,
Aye.
Brad Reed,
aye.
Andy Kishitz,
yes.
and Gerard Ahern.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So, and then we did have 2 sets of minutes that Valerie distributed. I don't know if people had a chance to see them. That would be the only other item of our business, and then we can adjourn. But
Before we go on, was that 6 or 6:30 on the 16th?
6.
6.
6, okay, thank you.
I did read the minutes. One of the meetings I was not present at, so, but the other one looked fine.
I went through them. I sent Valerie some comments on one of them, just for maybe some rewording or some little editing. But I think they were from 325 and from 315 and 425, right, Valerie?
Yes, that's right.
Right. So what's the process if we only have 4 members present? Can 4 members accept the minutes?
Yes, just a majority.
Okay, just majority.
So it doesn't matter if I wasn't at the meeting, in one of the meetings. Okay.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So,
I guess we just need the dates because we have to motion for each one, right?
315, 22 and 425, 22.
Okay. So I could motion to accept the minutes on 315, 22.
Okay. Andy, did you have a
Second.
chance to look at them?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, perfect. All right.
He seconded.
Oh, thank you. So those in favor, Brian Holmes,
Aye.
Brad Reed,
Aye.
Andy Kishitz,
Yes,
and Gerard Ahern.
Yes. Okay, and then do we have one for the 425, 22 meeting?
I think that's the one I missed, right?
I don't have them open in front of me, so it's, I can,
Yeah. 425, you were there.
Oh,
This
so it was
is
the other
the,
one. I was gonna say I would motion the one that was, I already motioned, so
Yeah.
I'll motion for that one too.
All right,
Motion to
we-
accept the minutes on 425. From 425.
perfect, thanks.
Seconded,
And those in favor, Brian Holmes,
Aye.
Brad Reed,
aye.
Andy Kishitz,
yes,
and Gerard Ahern.
Yes. Perfect. All right, and so that's, we did what we had to do, just a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Thanks, Brad, and then we can go watch the Bruins.
Second.
And those in favor, Brian Holmes,
Aye.
Brad Reed,
Aye.
Andy Kishitz,
Yes.
and Gerard Ahern.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
See you on
you
the
all.
16th.
Yes, see you all Monday.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
Maybe you
See
do a
ya.
reminder, Valerie, to be sure we.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know. There's so
Okay.
many meetings these days. I appreciate
I
you
know.
guys sticking with it. All
Right. All
See
right.
you
right, have a
guys.
good night.
Everyone have a
Good
good
night.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye.